Hey, I'm Jesse. Let's have a devotion. I want to show you something that you've already seen in Daniel, something that you're going to see in Daniel, and something you're also going to see in Revelation, which all bear an intentionally parallel structure. The vision that Nebuchadnezzar had in his Kobayashi Maru impossible test that Daniel passed because of just divine revelation from God, of his colossus with the head of gold, describing and foretelling as Daniel interprets rightly, of course. Nebuchadnezzar, was the gold head of the statue. And then it foretells the coming Persians, followed by the Greeks. And then the base of the statue has iron mixed with clay, and it's then disrupted by this rock thrown not by a human hand, destroys the feet, causes everything to fall, and that rock becomes a massive mountain. Well, that same kind of four-tiered structure from Babylon to Persia to Greece to Rome and Rome Part 2 is also at work in the four beasts that Daniel sees in Daniel chapter 7. And then these four beasts, or at least three of them, make this comeback in Revelation 13. So what we've already seen in Nebuchadnezzar's Colossus is echoed in Daniel's vision of four beasts, and then it's further drawn upon in Revelation 13. Don't feel like we've got to do full justice to the text of Revelation 13 and Daniel 7 in like a single 20-something minute devotion. I just want you to see this four-part structure that you've already seen in Nebuchadnezzar's vision at work in the four beasts and also at work in Revelation 13. Okay, so we have just a working vocabulary as we go through these books, so that when I talk about the gold head, and when I talk about the bear and the lion and the leopard, you know what I'm saying. And when I talk about 42 months and a time, times and half a time, you know that those are both the same thing. Those are 3.5 years. So these are things that are at work throughout Daniel, and you're going to see them in Revelation. Here's Revelation 13, 1 through 7. And I saw a beast coming up out of the sea, and it had 10 horns and 7 heads. Remember, horns are symbols of authority. On its horns were 10 crowns, and on its heads were blasphemous names. The beast I saw was like a leopard. That's like Alexander the Great's Greece with like 4 wings, and that's the third beast of Daniel's vision in Daniel 7. Its feet were like a bear's. That's the second beast in Daniel's vision in Daniel 7. And its mouth was like a lion's mouth. That's the first beast, this winged lion of Babylon in Daniel's vision of Daniel 7. The dragon gave the beast his power, his throne, and great authority. One of its heads appeared to be fatally wounded, but its fatal wound was healed. Okay, we'll talk more about this in tomorrow's devotion, but this seems to speak about what is at least a feigned assassination attempt on the beast, who is colloquially known as the Antichrist. Jesus is the one who holds the keys to death and Hades. And I think that it's just a facade, because the power at work behind the beast is the dragon. We're in Revelation 13 now, and in Revelation 12, which you've always known since Genesis is revealed, that serpent is the devil. That dragon is that ancient serpent, the devil, who's been deceiving mankind since the beginning. Okay, go figure. Everybody knows that except for people who teach Intro to Philosophy of Religion to college freshmen, because they all seem they think that they have this like massive coup de grace deal, this like fatal blow to all of like the Christian worldview by saying snakes can't talk. Well, yeah, idiot, we know they can't talk. That's not your average snake. Okay, you can't buy that at PetSmart. That's clearly the devil, and it's confirmed in the last book of the Bible, which we've always known. So that dragon is the devil. The dragon gives his power to the beast. So the devil is the power at work behind the Antichrist. And the devil, man, he lacks creativity. Only the Father is creative. The devil can only distort. And so in this darkly demonic imitation of the ministry of Christ, who truly died and truly resurrected, the Antichrist is given what seems to be a fatal head wound that is healed. The whole earth was amazed and followed the beast. So you can quibble with me as to whether or not it's genuinely an assassination, that this world leader is actually shot in the head and then comes back to life. You can quibble with me on it, but you got to know the larger point here is that even the elect are deceived by it. Even saved people on the earth during all of this are deceived by it because they feel like they're bearing witness to a guy gets shot in the head and then comes back to life. They worship the dragon, that's the devil, because he gave authority to the beast. And they worship the beast, which, by the way, doesn't make sense. Saying, who is like the beast, who is able to wage war against it? The beast was given a mouth to utter boasts and blasphemies. We've seen this already in our devotions through Daniel, just kind of sneaking peeks at what's to come. The horns represent authority. One of these horns that already typifies Antiochus Epiphanes IV and the Antichrist has a mouth on it. It's a horn with a mouth. It's a symbol of authority that runs its mouth. The devil runs his mouth and speaks blasphemies against God. It was allowed to exercise authority for 42 months. Okay, 42 months, what is that? That's 3.5 years. That is a time times and half a time. This is Revelation 13, but it's so strikingly similar to Daniel, isn't it? It began to speak blasphemies against God, to blaspheme his name and his dwelling, those who dwell in heaven. And it was permitted, that's the operative word in Revelation 13:7, is permitted to wage war against the saints and to conquer them. Remember this moment, because it's also in Daniel 7, and it looks like the good guys are losing. It was also given authority over every tribe, people, language, and nation. Like the whole world gets wrapped up in this thing. Now that I read that too, I kind of wish that I'd included maybe verses 8 and 9 because they describe how, but he can't do anything to those whose names are written in the Lamb's Book of Life. So forgive me, I probably should have expanded the scope of that one a little bit, but I want you to just see how this stuff from opening verses of Revelation 13 is also it bears striking similarity to Daniel. Right, here's Daniel 7:3-7. Remember Nebuchadnezzar's Colossus? Think about what we just read in Revelation 13, and then just watch this. 4 huge beasts came up from the sea, each different from the other. The first was like a lion, but had eagle's wings. I continued watching until its wings were torn off. It was lifted up from the ground, set on its feet like a man, and given a human mind. Okay, I think this is Babylon, whose king was Nebuchadnezzar. We see winged lions used to symbolize Babylon. The wings being torn off could represent Nebuchadnezzar's descent into madness. Okay, see this weekend's sermon. It was lifted up from the ground and set on its feet like a man and given a human mind. See Nebuchadnezzar's return to equanimity. Suddenly another beast appeared, a second one that looked like a bear. Remember how we saw this in Ezekiel? He would use simile based on earthly terms to describe heavenly realities. It's not a literal bear. It's not a literal lion. It's not a literal leopard. He uses the term like. It's simile. It's like a bear. It's like a lion. It's like a leopard. It looked like a bear. This is Persia. It was raised up on one side with 3 ribs in its mouth between its teeth. Okay, these 3 ribs could be Lydia, Egypt, and Babylon, whom we just conquered right here. It was told, get up, gorge yourself on flesh. Now here comes Alexander the Great's Greece. After this, while I was watching, suddenly another beast appeared. It was like a leopard with 4 wings of a bird on its back. It had 4 heads and it was given dominion. Okay, so we've got the first beast, it's a bear. First beast is a lion with wings. Second beast is a bear. The third beast is like a winged leopard. And then suddenly simile goes out the window. When you get to verse 7, after this, while I was watching in the night visions, suddenly a 4th beast appeared, frightening and dreadful and incredibly strong with large iron teeth. Remember this. It devoured and crushed, it trampled with its feet whatever was left. It was different from all the beasts before it, and it had 10 horns. Hey, that sounds familiar, right? This is a freaky beast. He doesn't use any simile or metaphor. It's not like a beast. It's not like a lion, rather. It doesn't look like a leopard. It doesn't look like a bear. He's used those before, but this 4th one is, this thing is freaky. I've got nothing I can convey it to, but it has large iron teeth and it crushed and it tramples. It's just different. It has 10 horns. Where have we seen that before? Go back here to Revelation 13. They're worshiping the beast. We have, what do we have? 10 crowns on its head were blasphemous names. It had 7 heads, and on its horns were 10 crowns, right? 10 horns and 7 heads. That's 10 horns and 10 crowns. I think that Revelation 13 is describing the same Antichrist-led final Gentile empire at the end of days. It is Gentile-led, but it is demonically infiltrated. I think that is the iron mixed with clay at the base of Nebuchadnezzar's Colossus. That is the 4th beast of Daniel 7. I think that is the Antichrist with the power of the beast, the power of the dragon behind him. That's why it's not just iron. It's iron mixed with clay. It's corrupted to its core. So back to Daniel 7, he's describing these beasts that we've already seen. All right, and we've got the lion, that's Babylon. We've got the bear, that's the Medo-Persian Empire. We've got the leopard, that's Greece. These things are all over Revelation 13. The beast I saw was like a leopard. Its feet were like a bear's. Its mouth was like a lion's. The 3 beasts that Daniel can describe in Daniel 7 are all listed, kind of amalgamated into a singular beast in Revelation 13 too. So this imagery is picked back up again centuries later, miles away on Patmos by a different author. So come back to Daniel while he is doing everything he can to describe this 4th beast. Look what he says in verse 19 of Daniel 7. Now, I wanted to be clear about the 4th beast. Thank you, Daniel, because it's hard to understand. The one different from all the others, extremely terrifying with what kind of teeth? Iron teeth, bronze claws. That's interesting. Devouring, crushing, and trampling with its feet whatever was left. I also wanted to know about the 10 horns. We saw that in Revelation 13 too, on its head, and about the other horn that came up, before which 3 fell, the horn that had eyes and a mouth that spoke arrogantly and looked bigger than the others. Okay, you'll just have to stay tuned for more on this, how it's about both simultaneously Antiochus Epiphanes IV and also the Antichrist. As I was watching, this horn waged war against the holy ones and was prevailing over them. Remember this? This is also in Revelation 13. In Revelation 13, this beast is permitted to wage war against the saints and to conquer them. It's like the bad guys are winning. But aren't you glad that there's more to the story? So we've got this. I'm so sorry, guys. You've got this Antichrist corrupt nation, this final horn that has dispossessed others. Antiochus Epiphanes did something similar. We know that these prophecies in Daniel can't be just about Antiochus Epiphanes IV because Jesus used Daniel in Matthew 24 to foretell of the last days, describing the abomination of desolation. So Antiochus Epiphanes IV was the near fulfillment. The ultimate fulfillment is at the end of days in the final Gentile empire where the power of Satan is at work behind it. It's not just a truly man-made empire. It is demonically powered. It is satanically possessed. It's not just mankind. It's the devil at work behind men like the Antichrist. It is the iron mixed with the clay. It is the 4th beast that is terrifying, and it's trampling everything. And it seems to be waging war against the holy ones and prevailing over them until the Ancient of Days arrived and a judgment was given in favor of the holy ones of the Most High. For the time had come, and the holy ones took possession of the kingdom. Amen. Isn't it fascinating too? Like Daniel, the reader of dreams, is needing some help interpreting his own dream. This is what he said: the 4th beast will be a 4th kingdom on the earth, different from all the other kingdoms. Just like the 4th layer in Nebuchadnezzar's Colossus was just different from the others, just like the 4th beast in Daniel's vision is just different from the others, you can see how this is all kind of leading up to Revelation 13. It describes the Antichrist's final empire, and as the devil is at work behind him. It will devour the whole earth, trample it down and crush it. The 10 horns are 10 kings who will rise from this kingdom. Another king, different from the previous ones, will rise after them and subdue 3 kings. He will speak words against the Most High and oppress the holy ones of the Most High. He will intend to change religious festivals and laws, and the holy ones will be handed over to him for a time, times, and half a time. I think these are describing the Great Tribulation. because they're all being handed over to this blasphemous one. Anytime you see that horn running his mouth, think Antichrist, think the beast. And he's oppressing the holy ones. He's changed religious festivals. Jesus said this in Matthew 24. From the time when these commemorative sacrifices are outlawed, it'll be, he gives a certain number of days until from this abomination of desolation. Matthew 24 spells out the number of days between the cessation of sacrifices and the abomination of desolation. Look at this in Daniel 7:25. He will intend to change religious festivals and laws. You can see how these these passages bear similarity. And the holy ones will be handed over to him for a time, times, and half a time. Remember, that's a year plus 2 years plus half a year. That's 3.5 years, which also, again, here we go back to Revelation chapter 13. This is 42 months. So it's okay if you don't totally get all this. Like I said at the beginning, I didn't intend to do full justice and totally exposit Revelation 13 and Daniel 7, along cross-referencing Daniel chapter 2, all in like 20-something minutes, or however long this really long devotional's been. What I want you to see is that these images are at work from Daniel 2 to Daniel 7 to Revelation 13, and they do bear similarity. So if you're picking up on patterns, don't let them confuse you. Rather, spot the consistency that's at work. Because Nebuchadnezzar had this dream with this statue of 4 different layers. Daniel in chapter 7 is going to have a vision of 4 different beasts. And all of these images from Daniel 2 and Daniel 7 seem to amalgamate and coincide in Revelation 13 that describes the final days of the Antichrist. So the first layer of Nebuchadnezzar's colossus is himself, gold. That's Babylon. Then the next ones to come along are the Persians, King Cyrus, as prophesied by Isaiah, named before he's even born, Cyrus. And that's the bear in the vision of the beasts. So the gold statue, the gold top of the statue, is also the winged lion of the first 4 beasts. Then the next layer of the statue is the next empire. That's the bear of the Medo-Persian Empire. And then the next layer of the Colossus is the next beast in Daniel's vision. That's the winged leopard of Alexander the Great's Greece. And then that's where everything gets murky. Literally, it gets murky in the case of the Colossus statue because it's like iron mixed with clay. And then when he gets to the 4th beast in Daniel 7, he's like, I don't know what to call this thing. So when you get to the 4th layer in both Daniel 2 and in Daniel 7, the 4th layer of the statue, the 4th beast in the vision, things get weird or weirder. And all of these images seem to culminate and combine in Revelation 13. And where they're arriving, the bottom layer of Nebuchadnezzar's Colossus, the 4th beast of Daniel chapter 7, is describing the Antichrist's like multi-nation coalition that has begun to wage war and is given victory over the holy ones, but the Ancient of Days steps up. And so in all 3 instances, things get weird at the final layer or level or beast, but at the very end, God comes in and wins. In the case of Nebuchadnezzar's Colossus, this rock comes out of nowhere, and it's not thrown by a hand. That rock is Christ. That's the rock that becomes the mountain in Daniel 2. And in the case of the 4th beast, ultimately it's going to be destroyed. The Ancient of Days is going to win. And then in the case of the actual beast of Revelation, the Antichrist himself, the dragon and his beast, and even death itself, they're going to be thrown into this lake of burning sulfur forevermore. So you're right if you spot these similarities and these patterns, because they are deliberate, from Nebuchadnezzar's Colossus in Daniel 2 to the 4 beasts of Daniel 7, and then the actual beast, the Antichrist himself, of Revelation, particularly Revelation 13. These patterns are deliberate. These books, though written by different authors in different times, do coincide, and they both do tell the same story. It's pretty amazing how it all overlaps, isn't it?